Hello, good morning students. Today we'll discuss reproduction in phylum Porifera. In phylum Porifera, all cells are in contact or near the water, maybe the fresh water or the seawater. Because each cell exchanges oxygen and carbon dioxide and discharges waste product into the water, a sponge has no respiratory, circulatory, and excretory system. These sponges they reproduces either by asexual means or sexual means. Asexual reproduction, that is without egg and sperm, often occurs by budding. That is, the cells on the side or base of the parent begins to bulge out and form a new organism. The buds may remain attached to the parent or they may detach and settle down nearby to form a separate organism. Freshwater sponges can produce a resting stage called a gemule. A gemule is small encysted bud that can tolerate being dried out of a long period of time. When a gemule is exposed to water, it can resume the development as a sponge. Organisms that can undergo a phase where they are dormant to survive harsh conditions are said to be cryptobiosis. So cryptobiosis is all organisms that can remain dormant and survive harsh conditions. So this is the gemule diagram where micropyle is present, outer membrane, archaeocytes they are present, inner membrane is seen, and these spicules they are present. So gemule formation can occur in freshwater sponge, for example Spongilla, or sea sponge, for example Ficellina, ficus. Archaeocytes or totipotent cells which are filled with food material in the form of lipoprotein or glycoprotein amalgamate to become a mass. An amoebocyte moves around the archaeocyte to provide a surrounding layer. This amoebocyte releases solid chitin which becomes a layer around the archaeocyte. Freshwater sponges usually die during the autumn season but leave behind a lot of gemmules. These produced internal buds can even withstand and live in winters and summer adverse and unfavorable condition. These grow to become new sponge when they find abundant amount of water. Alongside reproductive cells, a food mass embedded in membranous on the grown gemule. The gemmules have tiny opening which is scientifically termed as micropyle. When the conditions they are favorable for development, the cells come out from this opening. Now we can see the different parts of gemmules. Regarding the sexual reproduction, all sponges are hermaphrodite, that is, they contain both male and female sexual properties. The poriferans, they are protandrous. Protandrous means male sex organ develop first and the female sex organ develop later. So sponges, they reproduce sexually, have specialized gametocyte cell producing eggs as well as the sperms. Sponges undergo synchronous spawning and eject sperm cells into the water. So there is a cross fertilization. During sexual reproduction, both sperms and ova are produced from the archaeocytes, which are present in the mesoglea. It is claimed that the sex cells are also produced from the adult choanocyte. The sperm cells have long tail and swim freely in water current. The ova are amoeboid and wander throughout the mesoglea. The ova may grow up in size by ingesting other cells. The sperm cells does not enter the ovum directly. The union is assisted by the choanocyte. Very important. When sperm cells enter the radial canal, the choanocyte, which is nearer to the egg, captures it. The choanocyte, which absorbs the sperm, discards its flagellum and collar and come very near to the egg. This choanocyte is named as carrier cell. The sperm subsequently loses its tail and enters the egg. The carrier cell is ultimately absorbed. The early development takes place within the body of the mother sponge. When the development is complete, the larva forces its way into the radial canal and finally to the exterior. So in this diagram, we can see the sperms in the radial canal and large number of choanocytes they are present, right? And this is the presence of the egg. Now what happens? The sperms they are taken by a choanocyte which is near the egg cell. Then this choanocyte it loses the flagella and it behaves as the carrier cell. This sperm also loses the tail and fuses with the ovum to form a zygote. The fertilized egg or zygote divides rapidly to form a round mass of cells. So cleavage in the case of zygon is holoblastic. That whole of the zygote is divided into the cell. It is mostly covered with homogeneous cells, but at one end a few thickly granulated cells they appear. The homogeneous cells grow flagella and completely enclose the granulated cells. Soon the cells at one half loses their flagella and become large and granular. The hollow and swimming larva at this stage is known as amphiblastula, and the larva in this stage leaves the parent body. Gradually, the flagellated cells invaginate and finally the granular cells completely enclosed the flagellated cell. So this is amphiblastula in the diagram, and then the flagellated cells they enter inside and they are covered by the granulated cells. The flagellated cells forms the choanoderm, whereas the granular cells they form the pinacoderm. It will then settle down on the substratum and a new sponge is formed. So the flagellated cells from the form the choanoderm lining. The larva fixes itself to the substratum and a aperture called osculum appears at the free end. Further growth results in the thickening of the wall within the flagellated cells and thus lead to the formation of radial canals. Numerous spores appear on the side to form the inhalent aperture, that is the ostia. So we have seen two important larval stages in the poriferan. First is amphiblastula. Amphiblastula is free swimming larval stage of cycon and many other calcareous sponges. The body is somewhat ovoid in form and is comprised of a anterior half of small flagellated micromeer cells and posterior half of non-flagellated macromeer cells. It encloses a small cavity, the inside of which is filled with amoebocyte. It develops from stomoblastula through a process of inversion. It leads a free swimming exercise for some time and then settles down at the bottom and give rise to young sponge through embolic gastrulation. The micromeres give rise to choanoderm lining, the radial canal, and the macromere give rise to rest of the layer. So this is the diagram showing the amphiblastula half ciliated, half granulated, non-ciliated. Second larva is parenchyma larva. It is seen in the life history of Leucosolonia sponge. The fertilization is internal. The zygote undergoes holoblastic cleavage and develops into coeloblastula. It shows a hollow cavity inside a single layered cell. Many amoeboid cells enter the central cavity and it becomes parenchyma larva or sterogastrula. This larva shows an outer layer of flagellated cells and a mass of internal amoeboid cells. At the posterior and non-flagellated cells are present. They are known as archaeocytes. This larva swims in water for some times and then attaches to suitable substratum. So, during the metamorphosis of parenchyma larva, the amoeboid cells from the interior will come outside and give dermal layer and mesenchyme. The flagellated cells will surround the inner spongocoel. At its apex, an osculum is formed and it grows into the adult sponge. The process of development is indirect because it involves free swimming ciliated larva, either amphiblastula or parenchyma. Cleavage is holoblastic. After a period of planktonic drifting, the larva settles to a suitable location at the bottom and grows into the adult sponge. So in this diagram we can see that from this sponge, from the osculum, the sperms, they'll come out, they will enter into the another sponge through the ostia and enter into the cavity where choanocytes, they will capture them and they will fuse with the egg. Zygote is formed, cleavage is there, and the larva is formed. This larva, it will come out from the sponge mother body and then it will then settle down on the substratum to form the new sponge. So this is regarding the reproduction in the case of phylum Porifera. Thank you.